fun the seasonal positioning of this particular event is. Our first speaker, Jim, took us kind of a little bit into the future into winter, and Scott Kuckler is going to take us a little bit like a month back into the spooky season. Yeah, there you go. Photographer. He was born and raised in the Midwest. Photography became his passion at the age of 13 and has not diminished to this day. Scott was trained in the craft of traditional film photography at Lesley University in Boston, where he also worked as a freelance photo assistant. Scott then found his way to Europe, where he lived for over 10 years, working as a professional photographer, primarily in Munich, Germany, and Paris, France. During this time, he created his own self-invented darkroom printing methods. When Scott returned to the United States, he chose to move to coastal New Hampshire, where in the intervening years, he has focused on photography purely as an artistic medium. Tonight, he shares with you the work he produced from the catacombs in Palermo, Sicily, and that's what brought him here. Scott, you're up here.
All right, let's just start with this. These photographs are made in the catacombs in Palermo, Sicily. It's the catacombs of the Capuchin monks. And the way that I ended up making these photos was a friend of mine had shown me a book that illustrated the catacombs. And in these catacombs, there's thousands of corpses and maybe 12 to 1,500 mummified bodies. This was in the days before digital photography, and I was living in Munich. And when I'd seen this, I decided I really wanted to do this project, but it was a matter of being able to finance it. That became an issue. So by chance, I had an interview with a magazine called HQ. It was Rolf Mueller was the director of this magazine, and he'd shown it to me, and it was it's a magazine that's sponsored by a Heidelberg Press Company, so we didn't have any advertising to really worry about. And during the time that I was showing that, he said, well, you know, each month we have a different theme for our magazine, and the next one is going to be Resta, which in English translates to leftovers. I said, I have the idea for you. So ended up going to Palermo where I made these photographs, and they, you know, subsequently were published in the magazine. But afterwards, I made a bigger project of them, and the prints that of these are roughly about the same size as what you see on the screen. They're printed on self-made canvas material that was hand-toned, and they have an organic sort of feeling to them that they, I felt really represented how these mummies looked in reality. And the thing is that this catacomb is full of thousands of these bodies, and it's really tempting to photograph them en masse. And all the photographs that I'd seen up until that point were photographs of them like as a large group. So I wanted to focus on them individually as individual portraits, because I felt that was going to be much more impactful than seeing the large group of them. And you know, it's hard to say how other people will see them, but I don't see them as particularly like disturbing as probably somebody would see them for the first time, because they're intimate portraits of people, and these people that are mummified there, they wish to be there. They weren't it's not like photographing an accident or something. This you know, was sort of a holy place. And the monks there, the Capuchin monks, you know, they broke with the order of the Franciscan monks because they felt that they weren't extreme enough, you know, and they felt like by confronting themselves with these mummified bodies on a daily basis, that they would live pure lives. And I think there's something to be said for that. They you know, they had a saying. Let's see, that's the only thing I wrote up here. It says, you know, what you are now, we used to be, and what we are now, you will be. And I think it's important to keep that in mind on our day-to-day lives, that you know, we're all transient in this world. And these people, they wanted to be mummified because they wanted to be remembered. It wasn't because they wanted to be a circus sideshow. They, you know, very, very earnest in this wish. So there's you know, a certain process that they went to mummify these bodies, and the monks did it themselves, where they would pickle them basically in vinegar and then leave them out to dry, and they were dressed and then they were redressed over time so that they would be preserved. So most of the mummies are clergymen from the monastery. However, later on they decided that they would also incorporate people, you know, noble people and children and women from the town, from the city of Palermo. And so there's a big variety of different bodies that are in there. And when I went into the catacomb, the main thing that had happened was there was a grate that they'd installed in front of the mummies because people were posing with them or manipulating them in some way, which I thought was unthinkable, but that's what they had. So the photographs here, I had to basically like throw my arm over a grate or photograph through cracks to be able to make these photos. But as you see, there's children and women. This is a woman that was reclining. And there's one particular one that they were mummified between the years 1600 and 1890 or so. They come up with about 1900 mummies, and some of them have disintegrated over time, and they stopped the practice after a while. And it's not clear as to why. You know, it's a very, very private monastery. And to photograph there was a real privilege for me because they don't normally allow people to photograph inside the catacomb, but they were really accommodating to me because they felt that I had the proper reverence for what we were doing for photos. So, see this one here, this is Rosalia. She was died in 1920 at the age of 2. And it's only recently been disclosed, like the process that she was embalmed, and she hasn't really deteriorated ever since. The monks there consider it a miracle. All right, thank you very much.